Fate's Grand Order is a gacha game notoriously known for its terrible summoning system and horrible pity system that didn't even exist until recently. And while sitting in my room and crying because I failed to pull Lilith on my Japanese account, I had an idea. What if I tried to beat Fate's Grand Order without ever using the gacha system? Here are the rules. First and foremost, aside from the initial forced 10 pulls, we cannot touch the gacha screen at all. No friend summons, no GSSR, no story banner. The units we get in the beginning are fair game. But for the rest of the game, the only way we can get any more servants is either through the shop or by completing singularities and getting the free 3-star servant at the end. However, to make things more interesting, I'm only allowing myself to get one 4-star from the shop for Singularity clear. Second, I can't overlevel, and the way this works is very simple. I cannot at any point use a servant with a higher level than the story granted support. For example, if Caster is level 18 in Fuyuki, I cannot exceed that level for all of Fuyuki. Third, story support servants must be picked when available and they must always be on the front line alongside Mush. In the case where I need to pick a non-story support, they go to the back of the team instead, and I cannot use their cards if they somehow get on the field. Now with that out of the way, let's begin. The tutorial is nothing special. We go through the simulated battle, create our character, and crash land in Fuyuki, where after bonking a few skeletons, we get our one and only 10 pulls. And to be honest, it's not so bad. We have a pretty diverse roster, though we are lacking an archer, which is concerning, and our assassin is pretty dogshit. What really concerns me though are the craft essences, seeing as to my knowledge there are practically no gameplay or beneficial CEs in the shop, only ones that help with farming, and the ones we got were, less than helpful to say the least. Either way, we upgrade the basic roster of servants to level 12 and start clearing stages. It's just a bunch of skeletons, nothing really interesting. Shadow Rider gets OTK'd by Lakshmi Bai, which I thought was pretty impressive. Shadow Assassin manages to live for a turn, but is still brought down by the combined might of the dark-skinned queens. We meet Caster Ku, and with his help, Shadow Lancer and Assassin are defeated for good. A bunch of skeletons later, Ku attacks Mush to help her unleash her noble phantasm. He too succumbs to the ultimate spell of them all, a bullet to the face. Shadow Archer puts up a bit of a fight, spamming his dodge skill for 2 turns in a row. But I suppose he just wanted to end it in an anime-accurate fashion. A couple of skeletons, Dragonbone warriors in hands later, and we're facing off against Saber Alter already. Spoiler alert, Saber is also not immune to the Second Amendment. We watch as Olga most certainly, absolutely, and without a shadow of doubt dies. Then the game truly begins. We get Caster as a reward for clearing Fuyuki. Would have been useful if we hadn't already have Nitocrace from the poll. We also got a free 5-star selector and, well, I opted not to use it yet and ask you guys what you think about it. Should it be allowed? Would it make things too easy? Comment down below your opinion, and while you're there, you may as well subscribe to push me towards 1000 subscribers. We are so close. We also get the ability to take one of the welfare 4-star servants from the shop. I picked Mysterious Idol XX because she seems like she would be the most useful. An extra class servant with a solid DPS potential. We level up our servants to level 20, adding Hector to the roster in case some archers show up. And then we hit France. Nothing really out of the ordinary happens. Mush hits the soldiers with the blunt side of her shield. Whatever that means. Yeah. Then we fight our first wyvern. Yay! We'll be seeing a lot of these guys later, won't we? And I don't even have an assassin. No, I'm not leveling Jekyll and Hyde. We meet John, fight more wyverns before I realize I have made a terrible mistake and created Hollow Purple by including both shades of Jean on the same team. We admire early FGO writing. Yeah, very interesting. You know the drill. More skellies, more zombies, more wyverns. Eventually we come across best girl Jalter, and she tells us that she wants to destroy France. Honestly, you know what? Fair enough, girl. You go. She sends Berserker after us, and well, let's just say bro did not get to drink any blood as he was dispatched before dealing any damage. We also see two goth people arguing who is the edgiest before we enter a fight against the Berserk assassin, where Nitocris reminds me exactly why instant death as a mechanic is complete dogshit. Carmela calls Mash stinky, and then we dip before, yep, you guessed it, more wyverns. Marie Antoinette tags in, shows us why she is just freaky like that, and brings Mozart along. We exterminate some furries, witness peak lore-accurate writing, then more furries meet the Johns. Martha gets destroyed and we proceed. So far, nothing really has been a serious issue, so I think I wasn't paying attention when this happened. The first servant down of the run is Mush, and it's by Mr. over here. You can't even make this shit up, man. Anyways, Nitocris crushes his balls, and then we move on. Can you guess what happens next? Yes, more wyverns. God, I wish I had an assassin. If only a certain Japanese swordsman shows up to help me. Sanson and another Berserker show up, but even they can't handle the power of the Shoko Loco girls. Berserker wanted to run that shit back, only to get his shit rocked once more in 3 turns. Of course, right after this, we're right back to Wyvern, Skeleton, and Zombie Town. I get to use Hector for the first time. He's pretty cool, and his animations are really clean. A few more filler battles, then Liz and Kyohime make an appearance. Honestly, I forgot they were in basically every Singularity. Kyohime gets the Glock, but Liz manages to survive and use her Noble Phantasm, which wiped out my entire front line and almost caused the reset because the card RNG made it physically impossible to pass the turn without using the non-story support character. I say almost, and not certainly, because I had a solution. I used the command spell to charge Hector's Noble Phantasm, using it to pass a turn without having to use Barghest. Next, we had Siegfried join us, who was a level 30 Saber, so we can finally upgrade a little. Right? Well, the game had other plans, as when I tried to upgrade Astolfo, it gave me a super success, and doubled the amount of XP, meaning Astolfo was now a higher level than Siegfried, meaning that I can't even use him. Well, at least it was just a Stolf. We can make do. We can still make do. It's fine. God, I love wyverns. Don't you love wyverns? Comment down below if you would give your life to fight wyverns. Jokes aside though, the enemies were starting to get pretty tanky. And our damage? Yeah, not so great. Wait, what? Atlanta is in the Singularity? Since when? She wipes out my 2 sabers and then Hector shows up and almost gets bodied. But luckily he manages to take her out and stay alive long enough to finish off the rest of the wyverns. Or... never mind. That battle took 15 turns, by the way. Insanity. Up next is the rematch with Vlad and Dion. None of them could withstand the power of Hollow Purple. Then Sanson decided it was his turn to get served up. Except that the game decided that I shall not crit! And he manages to take Mozart with him before he dies. Carmilla shows up next, and with an army of wyverns. She ate up Mash before succumbing to Liz. Ironic. The boss fight with Fafnir followed, but really, it was barely a hassle. The only servant who got downed was Mash, and then Fafnir fell like a sack of bricks. Huh. I guess even ancient dragons must fear America. Kyohime joins us in beating some zombinos, skellies, and wyverns, gillies even. And then the servants' boss rush happened. No issues there. Then the grand battle ensues versus Jalter. Unfortunately for her, despite her noble goals of destroying France, her 15th century brain could not keep up with her being in a modern day concert and she died of a heart attack. Anyways, Gillis comes back for a round 2, but yeah, he wasn't ever a threat. Caster bonked, Grail retrieved, Singularity resolved. Thank you so much for watching, and if you'd like to see more of these, make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, and comment down below which 4-star should I take next, and your opinion on the 5-star selector. This was IMGWatcher, and I'll see you around.